High Commander Valzik stood frozen, looking at the screen showing the human ship. His mighty fleet was in chaos. Some ships drifted without power, others tried to flee. And this small planet, which he had thought so weak, now showed teeth. "Commander," said one of his officers, "we must decide quickly. Our life support systems are critical. If they target those..." Valzik looked at the two humans, Taehyun and Ji-woo. They had tricked him. All their questions, their delays, it had been to give their hidden ship time to get into position. "Take them to their shuttle," he ordered finally. "Let them go." The guards led Taehyun and Ji-woo through the corridors. Neither human spoke. They could feel the anger of the Korvax all around them. When they reached the shuttle bay, Taehyun turned to the guard. "Your commander made a mistake today, but it doesn't have to end with more fighting." The guard just pushed them toward their shuttle. On Phoenix, Lieutenant Junho Kim reported, "Captain, our people are heading to their shuttle now." Hyejin nodded. "Good. Stay close to the flagship. If they try anything, disable their engines immediately." "The other Korvax ships are pulling back," said Unisong. "They're moving to the edge of our system." "Let them go," said Hyejin. "We want them to tell others what happened here." Chief Engineer Do-hyun was checking systems. "Shield power at 90%. Weapons at full capacity. We could take on their entire fleet if needed." "That won't be necessary," said Hyejin. "We've made our point." The small human shuttle left the Korvax flagship. As it flew toward Earth, Taehyun and Ji-woo finally relaxed. "We did it," said Ji-woo softly. "I didn't think it would work, but it did." "Phoenix is amazing," said Taehyun, looking out the window at the black ship keeping pace with them. "Look at it. No visible engines, no weapon ports. It's like something from a dream." Their shuttle radio crackled. "Taehyun, Ji-woo, this is President Han. Well done. You're coming home heroes." "Thank you, Madam President," said Taehyun. "But the real heroes are on Phoenix. They'll get their recognition too." Whole world is watching now. Everyone saw Phoenix decloak and defeat the Korvax. People are celebrating in the streets. Indeed, all across Earth people were pouring out of their homes. Fear had turned to joy. Screens everywhere showed images of Phoenix and the retreating alien ships. In the United Earth Council chamber, President Han addressed the world. "Today, humanity faced its greatest challenge. We stood firm against those who would take our world from us. The Phoenix Project, kept secret for 5 years, has saved us all." She paused, looking directly into the camera. "To the Korvax I say, this. We came in peace and you chose intimidation. We offered friendship and you threatened destruction. Know this, humanity will defend itself, but we still prefer peace. Choose wisely." On the Korvax flagship, Valzik watched the human president's speech. His ship was limping away from Earth, heading toward the edge of the solar system. His superiors would not be pleased. "They hid their technology from us," he said. "They let us think they were weak." "A clever strategy," admitted his second-in-command. "We would have done the same." Valzik thought for a moment. "Perhaps we misjudged these humans. They are more interesting than we first believed." "What do we do now, Commander?" Valzik's 4 eyes blinked slowly. "We request proper diplomatic talks. Not as conquerors, but as equals." The word felt strange in his mouth. The Korvax Imperium did not see other species as equals, but then no other species had ever beaten them like this. 2 days later, Phoenix docked with Station Artemis. The crew was tired but proud. They had trained for years, for this moment, never knowing if it would come. Captain Hyejin Bey gathered them in the main hall. "What you did will be remembered forever," she told them. "You saved Earth." Lieutenant Unisong grinned. "Their faces when we appeared out of nowhere, I wish I could have seen them up close. The best part was how their weapons barely scratched." "Our shields," said Chief Engineer Do-hyun. "All those years of work paid off." "It's not over," said Hyejin. "The Korvax have requested new talks. Real talks this time, not threats. They want to meet tomorrow." The meeting took place on neutral ground, an orbital station halfway between Earth and the edge of the solar system. Phoenix hovered nearby, a reminder of humanity's strength. High Commander Valzik led the Korvax delegation. He looked less proud now, more cautious. President Han led the humans, with Captain Taehyun Kim and Dr. Ji-woo Park at her side. Captain Hyejin Bae joined them, representing Phoenix. "We begin again," said President Han. "This time as equals." Valzik nodded slowly. "The Korvax Imperium acknowledges Earth's strength. We propose a treaty. Trade rather than taking." "And what do you offer in trade?" asked Taehyun. "Technology, knowledge of the galaxy, protection, real protection this time, from species who would not show the restraint your Phoenix did." Ji-woo studied the alien commander. "He's telling the truth," she whispered to President Han. "They're afraid of us now." President Han nodded. "We will consider your offer, but know this, Earth is not alone anymore. We have friends among the stars now." This was a bluff, but Valzik couldn't know that. His eyes showed uncertainty. "Friends? Which species?" "That remains our secret," said President Han with a small smile. "Just as Phoenix was our secret." News of the encounter spread throughout the galaxy. A small blue planet had stood up to the Korvax Imperium and won. Other species took notice. On worlds long oppressed by the Korvax, hope began to grow. If Earth could stand against them, perhaps others could too. Phoenix became a legend, a symbol of humanity's ingenuity and determination. Captain Hyejin Bae's words to the Korvax became Earth's unofficial motto in space. "Underestimate us at your peril." Earth joined the galactic community not as the primitive world the Korvax had expected, but as a force to be respected and perhaps even feared. And somewhere in the vast depths of space, other alien eyes turned toward Earth with new interest. The humans had surprised everyone. What other secrets might they hold? The end. High Commander Valzik stared at Captain Taehyun Kim with all four of his eyes. "Phoenix? What is Phoenix?" Taehyun just smiled. His heart was beating fast, but he kept his face calm. "You'll find out very soon." One of the Korvax guards stepped forward and spoke to Valzik in their language. Ji-woo couldn't understand the words, but the guard seemed worried. Valzik turned back to Taehyun. "Your people test my patience. This meeting is over." He pressed a button on his chair. "Take them to the holding cell. We will begin our attack. Now." The guards moved toward the humans. Ji-woo looked at Taehyun with fear in her eyes. Had something gone wrong? Where was Phoenix? Suddenly, all the lights on the Korvax ship flashed red. Alarms began to sound. The guards looked around in confusion. A voice came over the ship's speakers saying something urgent in the Korvax language. Valzik stood up quickly, his face showing surprise. "What's happening?" he demanded of his officers. One of them was looking at a screen. "Something just appeared next to our ship. It wasn't there a second ago. Our sensors show nothing, but we can see it with our eyes." "Impossible," said Valzik. "Nothing can hide from our sensors." Taehyun smiled again. "I told you." Phoenix. Captain Hyejin Bae sat in her command chair on the Phoenix. The ship had moved into position right beside the Korvax flagship, so close they could almost touch. "Decloak complete," reported Lieutenant Junho Kim. "They can see us now." "Open a channel," ordered Hyejin, "to all Korvax ships, and make sure it broadcasts to Earth as well." Junho worked at his console. "Channel open. You're on, Captain." Hyejin took a deep breath. This moment would change history. She had to get the words right. "This is Captain Hyejin Bae of the Earth spaceship Phoenix. Your threats against our world end now. We have analyzed your fleet capabilities and found them lacking. Return to your borders immediately, or face the consequences of your aggression. Andreer." The Korvax flagship, Valzik watched in shock as a human ship appeared on the main screen. It was sleek and black with no visible engines. It should not exist. Human technology was not this advanced. "Impossible," he whispered. Then the woman's voice came through their speakers. Clear and strong, not afraid. making demands. Valzik's shock turned to rage. Fire all weapons. Destroy that ship. His weapons officer pressed buttons quickly. Green. Energy beams shot from the flagship toward Phoenix. On Phoenix, warning lights flashed. They're firing, said Yuna Song at the weapons console. Raise shields, ordered Heejin. The energy beams hit Phoenix. The ship shook slightly, but held firm. Shields, holding at 95%, reported Yuna. Their weapons are strong, but not as strong as we expected. Return fire, said Heejin. Target their weapon systems only. Disable, don't destroy. Yuna nodded and pressed her controls. The pulse cannons fired. Silent and invisible, but deadly. 3 quick shots hit the Korvax flagship. Their weapons went dark. Activate the communications disruptor, said Heejin. Junho pressed a button on his console. Disruptor active. All Korvax ships should now be cut off from each other. On the flagship, chaos broke out. The weapons stopped working. The communications went silent. The humans had somehow knocked out both systems with just 3 shots. Valzik was shouting orders, but no one knew what to do. They couldn't talk to the other ships, they couldn't fire back. Taehyun and Jiwoo watched with a mix of fear and hope. The Phoenix was real. It worked. But they were still on the alien ship, surrounded by angry Korvax. Look at their belts, whispered Jiwoo to Taehyun. The communication devices have stopped blinking. Taehyun nodded. Junho's disruptor had worked. A new alarm sounded on the Korvax ship. An officer looked at his screen and shouted something to Valzik. Valzik's face showed fear for the first time. More human ships? Where did they come from? Around Earth, hidden defense platforms began to power up. For years, nations had secretly built these platforms, disguising them as satellites or space junk. Now they revealed their true purpose. On a Phoenix, Heejin watched as Earth's other defenses joined the fight. All defense platforms online, reported Junho. They're targeting the smaller Korvax ships. The Korvax are trying to regroup, said Yuna. But without communications, they're confused. Some are retreating. Others are preparing to attack Earth. Stop them, ordered Heejin. Target engines only. The Phoenix moved with incredible speed, darting between Korvax ships. Each time it fired precise shots that disabled engines but didn't destroy the ships. On the flagship, Valzik watched in horror as his fleet fell into chaos. Some ships were drifting, weapons and engines dead. Others were trying to flee. How is this possible? He demanded. They were primitive. They had nothing that could harm us. Taehyun stepped forward. You made a mistake, Commander. You judged us by what we showed you, not by what we kept hidden. You tricked us. No, you tricked yourselves. You were so sure of your power that you never considered we might have secrets of our own. On Phoenix, Heejin received a message from Earth, Captain, said President Han's voice. The defense platforms have disabled most of the Korvax ships. Only the flagship remains a threat. We've neutralized their weapons, replied Heejin. But our people are still on board. Can you get them out? Working on it. Heejin turned to Junho. Can we transport them from here? Junho shook his head. Too risky with their shields. We need them to get to their shuttle. Heejin thought for a moment. Then let's give Valzik a reason to let them go. She reopened the channel to the flagship. Hi, Commander Valzik. You have 2 of our people. Return them to their shuttle unharmed and we will allow your ship to leave our system. Refuse, and we will disable your life support next. On the flagship, Valzik received the message. His officers looked to him for orders. They're bluffing, he said. They wouldn't risk killing their own people. One of his officers looked doubtful. Commander, they've disabled our weapons and cut our communications. They appear to have technology we didn't know existed. Are you certain they're bluffing? Valzik looked at the humans standing before him. They didn't look afraid. They looked confident. For the first time in his long career, High Commander Valzik faced defeat. And he didn't know what to do. The Korvax ships hung in the sky like dark clouds. People looked up and felt fear. In every major city, Humans gathered in large groups to pray or protest. Some fought over food and water. Others waited quietly at home. Captain Taehyun Kim watched the news reports with a heavy heart. "This is what they want," he said to Dr. Ji-woo Park. "Fear makes us weak." "Not all of us," she replied. "Some people get stronger when they're afraid." They were in a small room beneath the United Earth Council building. President Han entered, looking tired. Dark circles showed under her eyes. "Any word from Phoenix?" asked Taehyun. "They're on the move," said the president. "Captain Bay reports they left the asteroid belt 6 hours ago. They're coming in slow and silent. Will they be here in time for the meeting?" "That's the plan. But the aliens are watching us closely now. They've increased their scans of Earth orbit." Ji-woo looked worried. "Can Phoenix stay hidden?" Captain Bay says yes. The cloaking technology works better than expected. As long as they move slowly, they're invisible to all sensors. Taehyun nodded. "Then we stick to the plan. I go up to their flagship tomorrow and keep them talking while Phoenix gets into position." "It's dangerous," said Ji-woo. "What if they suspect something?" "They already do," said Taehyun. "But their pride is too big. They can't imagine we have anything that could hurt them." High Commander Valzik stared at Earth through a viewing window on his ship. Such a blue planet. So much water. His people needed water. Their homeworld was growing dry. "Commander," said his second-in-command, "our scans show unusual movement among the humans. They appear to be gathering supplies." "They prepare for war?" asked Valzik. "Or for surrender? It's hard to tell with such a primitive species." Valzik made a sound of disgust. "They are not worth the effort of a real fight. Their weapons can't even reach our ships." "Still, something feels wrong. They keep asking questions about our fleet, about our communication systems. They are curious, like children. It means nothing." The human female, the one they call a doctor, she wandered into a restricted area during her last visit. Valzik turned his 4 eyes toward his officer. "And you let her?" "It was only for a moment. She was removed quickly. Watch her closely. When they come tomorrow, and scan their shuttle carefully, they may try something foolish." In the darkness of space, the ESS Phoenix moved silently toward Earth. Its hull, lined with element X, absorbed all scanning waves. No radar could see, no heat sensors could feel it. Inside, Captain Hyejin Bay floated in the zero-gravity command center. Screens showed the positions of the Korvax ships. "They've spread out," she observed, "covering all major cities." Lieutenant Junho Kim nodded. "Classic intimidation pattern, but it works in our favor. Their ships are too far apart to support each other quickly." "What about their flagship?" "Here," said Junho, pointing to a large blip on the screen. "In high orbit over the Pacific. That's where Captain Kim will go for the meeting." "And that's where we'll be," said Hyejin. "Status report?" "Engines running silent," reported Chief Engineer Do-hyun. "We're at 30% power to maintain stealth." "Weapons?" "Hot and ready," said Lieutenant Unisong. "Pulse cannons charged. Communications disruptor programmed to their frequency," added Junho. "Once activated, it should cut them off from each other for at least 10 minutes. Hyejin checked the time. "We'll reach Earth orbit in 5 hours. The meeting is in 7. Perfect timing." She looked at her crew. "Try to get some rest. Tomorrow will be a long day." Morning came. On Earth, people woke up wondering if it would be their last day. The Korvax had given them until noon. In cities, around the world, giant screens showed the alien message playing on repeat. "Accept our terms or face consequences." President Han met with Taehyun and Ji-woo before they left for the Korvax flagship. "Remember, your job is to keep them talking," she told Taehyun. "Ask questions, act interested, do whatever it takes to buy time." "Yes, Madam President." She turned to Ji-woo. "And you need to watch for any new information, anything that might help Phoenix." Ji-woo nodded. "I understand." "Phoenix is in position," said the president. "They're right behind the moon, waiting for the signal." The small human shuttle lifted off from Earth. It carried only Taehyun, Jiwoo, and 2 security officers. They had no weapons. The Korvax had forbidden them. As they approached the alien flagship, Taehyun felt his heart beating fast. Everything depended on this plan working. If it failed, Earth would pay the price. The shuttle docked with the Korvax ship. The door opened and they were met by 4 alien guards. Each stood 2 heads taller than the humans and carried what looked like energy weapons. "Follow," said one guard in rough English. They were led through long corridors to a large room. High Commander Valzik sat on a raised platform looking down at them. "Humans," he said, "you have come to accept our terms?" Taehyun stepped forward. "We have come to discuss them, yes. We have questions about what you require." Valzik's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Questions? Always questions. The terms are simple. You give us access to your resources. We protect you from other species who would take everything." "What specific resources do you need?" asked Taehyun. "How much? How often? These details matter to us." Jiwoo watched the aliens carefully while Taehyun talked. She noticed something important, a small device on each guard's belt. It pulsed with light in a regular pattern. "Communication devices?" Valzik seemed annoyed. "Water, metals, whatever we decide to take. You have no say in the amount." "That seems one-sided," said Taehyun. "Surely as partners we should have some input." "Partners?" Valzik's voice rose. "You are not partners. You are barely worth noticing. In the vast expanse of space, your technology is primitive. Your weapons are toys." "Then why do you want our resources at all?" pressed Taehyun. "If we're so insignificant?" Valzik stood up, angry now. "Enough. You test my patience, human. You have delayed and questioned long enough. Give your answer now. Yes or no?" Taehyun looked at his watch. Phoenix should be in position by now. He took a deep breath. "Before we answer, I have one more question." He stepped closer to Valzik. "What would you do if you were wrong about us?" "Wrong about what?" "About our technology, about what we're capable of." Valzik laughed, a harsh sound. "A joke? At this moment? Your world hangs in the balance and you make jokes?" Taehyun smiled. "No joke, Commander. Just one last question. Have you ever heard of the Phoenix?" As he spoke those words, Jiwoo pressed a hidden button on her sleeve. A signal went out, encrypted, and hidden in normal communication traffic. It went to Earth, then bounced to the moon, and then to the waiting ship beyond. The signal said one word: now. 5 years before the aliens came, Colonel Sunwoo Choi stood in the rain on a hillside in Korea. In front of him was a smoking hole in the ground. Scientists in white suits moved around it, taking readings. "What do we have?" he asked the woman. Beside him, Dr. Yunha Kang pulled back her hood. Rain dripped down her face. "It's not from Earth." "A ship? Weapons?" She shook her head. "Just a rock. A meteorite. But it's made of elements we've never seen before." Sunwoo looked at the hole again. "Can we use it?" Yuna smiled. "Oh yes, we can definitely use it." 3 months later, in an underground lab, Yuna showed Sunwoo what they had learned. "We call it Element X," she said, pointing to a small piece of dark metal floating above a platform. "It bends light around it and it can hide energy signatures." Sunwoo's eyes widened. "Perfect stealth." "Exactly. But that's not all." She pressed a button. The metal shot across the room faster than the eye could follow. "It can also be used for propulsion, faster than anything we have now." "Does anyone else know about this?" "No. Just our team." Sunwoo nodded slowly. "Keep it that way. I need to make some calls." 2 years of secret work followed. The world's powers, usually fighting each other, came together in secret. They all feared the same thing: what might come from the stars. The Phoenix Project was born, hidden in the asteroid belt, away from prying eyes. They built humanity's first true warship. Captain Heejin Bae walked through the nearly completed ship. It was beautiful, sleek and deadly, like a shark. The hull was lined with Element X, making it invisible to all known detection methods. "Captain, we're ready for the weapons test," called Lieutenant Unisong. They moved to the firing range. A target drone floated a kilometer away. "The pulse cannon uses Element X to focus energy," explained Yuna. "It hits harder than anything we've built before." She handed Hyejin a control pad. "Would you like to do the honors?" Hyejin pressed the button. There was no sound, no visible beam. The target simply came apart, breaking into pieces. "Perfect," said Hyejin. "And it's silent. No warning." "Just how we want it," said Yuna with a grin. Now, with aliens in Earth's orbit, the Phoenix was being prepared for real combat. Chief Engineer Do-hyun Park worked on the engines, his hands moving quickly through the complex machinery. "Will she hold together?" asked Hyejin, watching him work. "She'll do more than that," said Do-hyun. "She'll dance." He patted the engine housing. "I've been running simulations based on the alien ship's movements. We're faster, much faster." "Good. Because we might be outnumbered." Lieutenant Junho Kim, the systems officer, joined them. "Captain, I've been studying the alien communications. They use a specific frequency to coordinate their fleet." He held up a small device. "This disruptor should block it. If it works, their ships won't be able to talk to each other." Hyejin took the device. "Good work. Every advantage helps." Back on Earth, the situation was getting worse. The Korvax ships had positioned themselves over major cities. People were scared. Some tried to flee to the countryside, causing traffic jams and chaos. Captain Taehyun Kim and Dr. Jiwoo Park worked around the clock. They had daily meetings with the aliens, trying to buy more time. "They're getting suspicious," said Taehyun after another tense meeting. "They know we're stalling." Jiwoo nodded. "But I'm learning more about them each time. Their body language, their speech patterns, and I found something interesting." She showed him her notes. "They depend heavily on their technology, almost too much." "How does that help us?" "Every system has a weakness. I just need to find theirs." High Commander Valzik was losing patience. The human leaders kept asking for more time. They asked endless questions about the protection terms. "They are planning something," he told his officers. "Their behavior does not match their known capabilities." "What could they possibly do?" asked his second-in-command. "Their weapons are primitive. Their ships are slow. Still, increase scans of their planet. Look for anything unusual." Jiwoo was allowed on board the alien flagship as part of the diplomatic team. While the others talked, she watched and listened. She carried a small device hidden in her pocket. It recorded everything. During a break, she pretended to get lost and wandered into a communication room. The aliens quickly ushered her out, but not before her device recorded valuable data. Back on Earth, she analyzed what she had found. "They use this frequency," she told President Han, pointing to a graph. "All their ships depend on it to work. Together, if we could block it, can we?" asked the president. "We don't have the technology," said Jiwoo Taehyun, who knew about Phoenix, caught her eye. "What if we did?" On Station Artemis, Hyejin received the new information. "This changes everything," she told her crew. "If we can disrupt their communications, we can divide them." "Lieutenant Kim, can you modify our disruptor to match this frequency?" Junho studied the data. "Yes, but I'll need to get close to their flagship." "Very close. How close?" "Ideally, right beside it." Hyejin smiled. "That's exactly where we'll be." The Korvax were done waiting. They sent a message to all of Earth's screens. "Humans," said High Commander Valzik, "you test our patience. We now show you what happens to those who waste our time." The screens showed images of other worlds, cities burning, alien creatures running in fear, ships like those over Earth fired down from above. These species also thought they could resist. They were wrong. Valzik's four eyes blinked in sequence. "You have 24 hours to accept our terms. After that, we begin teaching you your place in the galaxy." President Han called an emergency meeting. "We're out of time," she said to her advisors. "We need to decide now." The Phoenix is ready, said Taehyun. Captain Bay reports all systems operational. If we use it, there's no going back, said another advisor. If it fails, the aliens will destroy our cities in revenge. The president was quiet for a long time. Then she said, the Korvax will destroy us either way. If we surrender, they'll take everything and leave us nothing. At least this way we fight on our terms. She turned to Taehyun. Tell Captain Bay to prepare for deployment. And I want you on that alien flagship tomorrow. Ask for one final meeting. Say we're ready to discuss terms. And what's the real purpose? Asked Taehyun. 2. See their faces when they realize they made a terrible mistake. The large screen in the United Earth Council chamber showed stars. Then something moved across them. It was big. Very big. What is that? Asked President Min-ji Han. Her voice was calm, but her hands gripped the table tightly. Captain Taehyun Kim stood straight beside her. It appears to be a ship, Madam President. A very large one. The room was silent. After years of looking to the stars and wondering, humanity had its answer. They were not alone. Dr. Ji-woo Park, Earth's best translator of unknown languages, stepped forward. Her eyes never left the screen. They're sending a signal. The large ship on the screen was joined by 5 smaller ones. They moved into Earth orbit with ease. No human ship could move like that. Put it on, ordered President Han. The screen changed. Now it showed a being with gray skin and 4 eyes. It wore a shiny uniform with many badges. It looked at them like a person might look at a bug. I am High Commander Valzik of the Korvax Imperium, it said in perfect English. Your planet is now under our watch. Lieutenant Minho Lee, the tactical advisor, whispered to Captain Kim, how do they know our language? They must have been watching us for some time, Captain Kim whispered back. The alien continued, we have studied your planet. Your technology is cute. The way it said cute made it sound like an insult. We have decided your species might be useful. We will allow you to join our Imperium. President Han stood tall. We thank you for contacting Earth. We would like to establish peaceful relations as equals. The alien made a sound like laughter, but without joy. Equals? You're fastest. Ships would take years to reach even your nearest planet. Our slowest ships can cross your entire system in days. Dr. Park studied the alien's body language. Even though it was not human, she could tell it felt superior. We offer protection, Valzik continued. Many dangerous species exist in the galaxy. Some would destroy your world without talking first. You should be grateful. And what does this protection cost? Asked Captain Kim. Smart human, said Valzik with what seemed like a smile. We require access to your resources. Water, minerals, certain metals. Nothing you will miss too much. Lieutenant Lee stepped forward. And if we refuse? The alien's 4 eyes blinked, one after another. Then you do not get our protection. Simple, yes? You have 1 week to decide. The screen went dark. In the emergency meeting that followed, Earth's leaders argued about what to do. We can't fight them, said one official. You saw their ships, they're too advanced. We can't just give them our resources either, said another. Once they start taking, they won't stop. Captain Kim stood quietly, thinking. Then he asked, what about the Phoenix project? The room grew silent again, but for a different reason. President Han looked around at the others. That's classified information, Captain. Yes, but it might be our only chance, he replied. The aliens think they know everything about our technology, but they don't know about Phoenix. After a long silence, President Han nodded. Get me a secure line to Station Artemis. We need to talk to Captain Bay. Hidden in the asteroid belt, between Mars and Jupiter, Station Artemis looked like an ordinary mining operation, but deep inside, it held Earth's greatest secret. Captain Heejin Bay floated through the zero-gravity corridor toward the communication room. Her short black hair drifted around her face. The message from Earth had said urgent, and when Earth said urgent, you moved fast. The screen lit up showing President Han. Captain Bay, we have first contact. Heejin's eyes widened. Friendly. Not exactly, said the president. They want our resources and are using protection as an excuse. They've given us 1 week. Hyejin nodded slowly. And you want to use Phoenix? Is it ready? Hyejin thought about the years of secret work. The Phoenix was Earth's first true warship. It was built with technology that no one on Earth officially knew existed. We've been running final tests this month. The cloaking system works perfectly. They won't see us coming or going. And weapons? Lieutenant Unisong has been testing the pulse cannons. They work better than expected. Chief Engineer Do-hyun has the engines running at full capacity. President Han looked relieved. We need you to prepare for possible deployment. We'll try diplomacy first, but if that fails, we'll be ready, said Hyejin. Phoenix can match anything they've shown so far. Let's hope we don't need to find out, said President Han before ending the call. Hyejin gathered her senior crew in the secure briefing room. The walls were covered with screens showing data from the alien ships. So they finally came, said Lieutenant Junho Kim, the systems officer. His fingers moved quickly over a tablet, analyzing the alien technology. Their ships are impressive, but nothing we haven't prepared for. They're overconfident, said Unisong. The weapons specialist had a dangerous smile on her face. That's good for us. Chief Engineer Do-hyun Park looked concerned. The cloaking system is still new technology. We've never tested it against alien sensors. Then we'll be cautious, said Hyejin. For now, we watch and prepare. Earth will try to buy us time through talks. Back on Earth, the alien ships loomed in the sky, visible even during daylight. People were scared. Some prayed. Others prepared for the worst. In the United Earth Council chamber, Captain Taehyun Kim and Dr. Jiwoo, Park prepared for another meeting with the aliens. Do you think they'll listen to reason? Asked Jiwoo. Taehyun shook his head. They think we're weak. They see no reason to compromise. Then why talk at all? To buy time, he said quietly. Every day we delay gives Phoenix a better chance. High Commander Valzik appeared on the screen again. Humans, have you made your decision? Will you accept our generous offer? President Han stepped forward. We need more time to consider. This is a big decision for our world. Time? The alien seemed amused. Very well, but remember, our patience is not endless. We will show you why our protection is valuable. The alien pressed something on its control panel. Suddenly, all screens showed a small island in the Pacific Ocean. There was a flash of light from above and the island vanished, leaving only boiling water. That was uninhabited, yes? Just a demonstration. Valzik's voice was casual, as if discussing the weather. Next time we might choose a place with your kind living on it. Do not test us further. As the screens went dark, Taehyun looked at President Han. She nodded slightly. It was time to call in Phoenix.